Hello, crafty friends, and welcome back. Today I am playing along with Mixed Media Mayhem. We are to use bubble wrap, twine, and the color blue. And since last week I forgot to use stitching, I actually threw in some stitching as well. Here you can see that I am working with some 49 and Market papers, and I believe one was from the Ocean Collection, and this one I think is from Inkwell, I believe, and then the yellow one I think was from either one of the hiking ones or it might have been from Ochre or Crafty Garden. And I could probably look and find the branding strips, but I don't know where they went. So, anyway, I am documenting. This may not look like it belongs with the other beachy layouts that I've been doing, but this one is documenting my daughter and I that of course, we live in Iowa and we don't have Waffle House, nor had we ever been to a Waffle House when we had gone anywhere in the South. And so this is something that she wanted to do when we were on this trip. So that is what we did. That one morning we decided to go have brunch and have brunch at Waffle House. So here you can see that I have gutted out each of my papers. And because I'm going to use the blues and the yellow that I used in the framing as part of my design on the front. So here you can see I have added the stitching. So now I have met last week's requirement, even though I put it on this week's. And I did use my fingernail to go ahead and ruffle those up. And so the rest of my layout here, I am using a quadrant grid layout design. So I love doing these kinds of designs. They are super easy, and it's kind of one of my go-tos, but I try to do different things just so they don't all look the same here. So I don't know if I've ever done a double map before, but I think it works on this one to bring all the colors together. So here are my first layers. And then now I'm deciding if I'm going to put the yellow on top or the blue on top. And ultimately I do decide to go with the same layering as my border, that I'm going to use the blue on the bottom, and then I will map my photos with a white color to help them stand off a little bit more once they are on the yellow color. I also bring another layer in that I will go into detail once I get to that step. So the blue pieces I made about a 1/4 inch bigger than the yellow ones. So then I just put them on wonky from each other as kind of like a frame, but you can see more of it once I do them wonky like that. So that is where my pictures are gonna go. So here is my first attempt. That I have this die that is actually, both of the dies that I'm going to use here are from Elizabeth Crafts, and they actually came in the same package. This one, at first I thought this was the one I was going to use, that it kind of looked like a waffle with the circles in the middle, but then for some reason I decided to try using this one instead, that is more like, you know, a loose weave of kind of like a basket weave or something. I don't know. I thought it looked like waffles more so than the circle one did. So using a scrap of paper from 49 market that I used. Created these two smaller pieces up there at the top, and then so I'm also using that Sizzix tool to help get all the little bits and pieces out. If you don't have that and do a lot of intricate die cutting, I do recommend getting that it is quite helpful. So there you can see that I'm using those as layering pieces, and eventually I do come back in and decide that I need a couple more bigger pieces as well. And so here's where my bubble wrap comes in, and some additional blue. So I used my distressed oxide in tumbled glass, and then let's see, what was the other one? The blue I think was prize ribbon, and it was just a regular oxide that it wasn't really that big of a deal to mix the two together. So I just put my ink pads down directly onto the bubble wrap and gave a little spritz of my water and just flipped it over and used it like a stamp. And I actually love this technique. So this was the first time I've ever done this, and I will be doing it again. It was pretty cool. So here you can see that I have now dug through my color drawers and found some blue items, some yellow gold colored items, and just getting auditioning everything around, and you can see where everything landed. So here for my title, that I didn't have a W left, so I ended up Frankensteining together two V's to make a W, and I don't think it looks too bad. Now here on the video, it is difficult to see, but what I'm using is the yellow Doodlebug, I think, and they were puffy stickers or puffy alphabet, and you can actually see it a lot better in person than you can on the video. And then these are super old Simple Stories tile stickers, and so the easiest hack that I have for these, for spacing purposes, I trim little pieces of scrap paper. This time I actually used the 1/8 tear tape, and just peel that off and then put the stickers on and trim it off to size, and then that way I can just glue down the entire word instead of moving all the tile letters around until I get them into the space that I want them to be. These florals are from my stash. I think those were super old in my mind's eye florals that I have been struggling to use for quite some time. But getting a few bits and pieces used on here. Get this heart down. That was one of the few 49 market pieces that I did use on the top here. Oh, and I haven't glued down, so I did wait to get the floral piece in place first, so then I could space out the rest of the title, which says all we need is waffles and syrup. That I went online and searched for waffle related humor and t-shirts, and I don't know, I just went out and did several searches, and this was the one that I ended up deciding to use. So coming back in, now I'm going to start working on that bottom square here with the photo of my daughter and her beautiful waffle there. She had the regular waffle with chocolate chips, and I think I just had a regular waffle with eggs and bacon. So it was good. We had a good time. We had a good conversation, and we can now officially say that we have been to a Waffle House. So these were also some tags that have been in my stash for a while, and they coordinated with the papers that I was using, so they gave a good matte base for the photo here. So again, just working up the edges of each of my squares like I have for on the outside layers, and so I am continuing that slight distressed look on these other pieces. And so here's where I am using these die cut pieces as layers to follow up with the waffle theme. And so there is that attached down, and well, I don't have the big piece down. I think this is where, I think I do that after I add this foam piece. And I think that might have come from an old hip kit before they went to exclusive products. And it's been in my stash for a while as well, and now it has finally met its scrappy destination and made it onto a page. And it basically looks like a phone, and I think it says, "You are my sunshine," I believe. Anyway, so getting the rest of my square stuck down here where everything, the base is, and I am using some wet and dry adhesive just to make sure I have a good stick, since I did do some mixed media on the background, so I always just want to make sure that I have a good adhesion there. And let's see, so I did layer 2 of those die cuts together here, and the middle where they match up and look kind of wonky, that will be covered up by the rest of my title here. And so I had these 2 banner pieces, and so one said awesome, and originally I was going to use the awesome, but then I decided to help that together stand out more, that I used it as more of a layering piece. So decided to go ahead and go back and put that flower, and that foam piece was thick enough that I did need to use 2 foam stickers to get it level. And getting my last little bit here done, last photo. Again, I'm using the backs of a paper pad that I had picked up at a give-take table, and the popsicles that I think I am probably going to use the front side of that paper for another layout, but I didn't think I needed 2 copies of that same paper. So here, just working on placement here, and decided to put that floral up there to take up some of that dead space of the parking lot. And so then I decided to rework some of this up or down with the title and my journaling there. And I think this is how everything in general ends up coming together. So I put down my journaling first and then use my liquid glue to place the rest of it here. And, oh, I do have another one of these hearts that I'm going to add to fill up that area of the rest of my journaling space. And then I do decide to squeeze in this little piece that says, "You amaze me," as well. So I do dig through a little bit of my items that I pulled out from my color drawers, and ultimately this is what I have ended up with. So the final little bit that I do is I pull out the Nouveau spray, and I'm just sprinkling some gold around my layout because I have been trying to do that consistently on all of the full-size pages within this album. So that is pretty much going to wrap things up for this particular layout. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to leave those down below. And I do have links for everybody playing along with Mixed Media Mayhem, as well as links to my Instagram and Pinterest accounts. And thank you for stopping by. We will see you next time. Bye.